Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Library of Ruina lore book reading episode thing. I realized I've been naming this, or referring to it as the wrong name this whole entire time, and I never actually named it the Library of Ruina lore book as I had intended on doing. So I've been, theming this whole entire sub-series over something that isn't even reflected in the title, so, well, that's a classic me move and a half. But anyway, let's move on here. I do have some people, I don't remember if I had actually, showcased them being named and added to these departments as of before, and like I said, I still need to move people around, so this is not your final areas where you will be, but I did fill in the blanks with other people here, mainly with Strikel, Viper, Sniper Piper, Coolx, Buttercup, and I think that's it. So, I think I've added all of those different characters into it. I still need to get Keter floor up by getting all the middle floors and all that fun stuff, though, but, that's a thing. I also still need to beat this on Tifrith floor later on. I have done a bit of grinding on all of these upper floors. I no longer need to do any more wedge office grinding. By the way, the feather shield that you get from fighting, what's his ass face? Fucking the Nickel, Philip. Yeah, Philip the Nickel. You get Feather Shield and another ability from him, another card from him, which is not nearly as good as Feather Shield, because Feather Shield is fucking broken. But I love that card. I love it to death. I need to get more of them. I love fighting him. It is a great fucking thing to fight, and I didn't realize how lucky I was on this floor when we initially got through it and were able to take on Philip afterwards, because I have gotten my ass clapped by Philip a couple of times during the grind process. Lovetown, I've already burned one of the pages and got all the cards that I would ever want from Lovetown. We don't talk about Lovetown, we will never do it again. Done. Never talking about it again. I think I gotta do a little bit more grinding on this one to be able to get the Musicians of Bremen stuff. I need to grind the Kurakumo pages, though. I do need 2 more Sayo pages, because why wouldn't I want 2 more Sayo pages? Yang and Gin are good for throwing cards in there as supplements. I have full stop office grinding to do. I need 1 more carnival page. I have everything here that I should need, I think. Unless there are more Una pages that I need. Let me check that. There is not. I have all of my Unis pages, so good. I can throw... Well, I mean, I already have it. I know that I have it because my character has the fucking thing here. But anyway... Yeah, so I have all of Eunice pages, and then the only other thing that I need to grind is here, because I need more of Bono, and I need more of Dalek from Gay's office. Other than that, we have everything that we would need on the grinding side of it, and then we can move on to beyond that, which is Urban Nightmare. And also, I have to do a lot of reading, or at least I'm going to be doing a bit of reading from before Urban Plague to make sure that we have everything. I'm not going through a 55-minute episode or however long the last one is to make sure that I know all of the pages that I didn't read. So, I'm going to read all of the ones that I think I didn't read, starting with Sans and Walter's page, and then we're going to read all of the Fixer pages. All of the ones that we got from, general invitations and shit like that, and then the Axe Wielder pages, and the Stray Dogs page. That one I know that I didn't read 100%. And we're going to be doing it off of Tifrith, because I love Tifrith. So let's continue. Let me just grab a sip of my coffee first before we begin here. And we're going to go up from the bottom, which is going to start with the Stray Dogs page. Alright, so this is where we're going to begin right here, ladies and gentlemen. Here goes my lore reading fucking voice. It's true that our syndicate's sorta intimidating and got a tight hierarchy going on, but the bond between members is strong. We're actually leagues nicer than those office fucks who exploit and abandon each other with every breath. Those crooked bastards will do anything for profit. I'm sometimes in the awe of shit that they'll pull. I actually used to be a rat. Yeah, those filthy and wretched rats everyone looks down upon. It's amazing that I'm now standing shoulder to shoulder with the dogs, ain't it? I busted my ass crawling up the ladder. I did everything in my power. I got a small tattoo with a little cash I had and rummaged through trash to find worn but still usable accessories. It was a damn tough climb, but now that I'm here, I'm starting to feel like it might have been better off to just live as a rat. Here, a strict barking order set up between members. It's nothing like the rats who move in close packs. Sometimes, I do miss my old family. So about what I had expected from that one, though. I'm starting to realize, though, there's a lot of stuff that you noticed from reading a lot of, like, the Syndicate pages and stuff, where, like, they're not just a bunch of hooligans that are assholes and stuff like that. Obviously, as you would imagine, like, they do have, like, some kind of a code behind shit. And I'm sure that that is the same exact thing with the stray dogs, to be honest with you. Youngmi didn't strike me as, like, a complete asshole. It's just that's how you get shit done. So, always nice to get the behind the scenes on that shit. Moving on to Fixer Grade 8. Because I think that's before, it goes lower in number, right? Yes, it does. All people and firms generating income in this city must pay their taxes. Pay your taxes! Taxes here! Anyway. In addition to the fund for work-related expenses, such as maintenance of equipment and monthly rent for office space, which is already a lot, fixers must accommodate for rather heavy taxes as well. I became a fixer trying not to starve, but the taxes have put me in even tougher hardship. Ordinary people have a hard time bearing this pressure, but what can I do in the city? Orders are to be followed. We all know what happens if we don't abide by them. I think I've read these ones, but I'm going to read them anyway. Yeah, same story page. And I don't remember if I read Sand's page, but we're going to do it anyway. An associate office is one that is in the cooperative relationship with one of the associations. The advantage of this designation is that its fixers will not have to worry about starving, since they're paid a stable salary, and that the office simply has to handle tasks given by the association with proficiency, rather than having to deal with clients and accept their requests as ordinary offices do. Spending days without any incident happening in the area designated for peacekeeping can be admittedly boring, though it's a blessing to have such a peaceful day in the city. I was grateful to have such serenity each day, reasoning with Lulu's occasional complaints. Is boredom the only downside of being an associate office? It's not quite true. Because we're under the direct command of the association, we're forced to take on any undesirable tasks they give, even if it gives the risk of wiping out the office. I can't blame the association, so I only have myself to fault for failing to save my guys. About exactly what you would think from San, just a little bit more behind the scenes of how offices and associations work. I think I did read San's page, because something about that just doesn't seem, I don't know, new. I'm pretty sure I read Dino and Zulu's page. I think I read all the dogs' pages. I think I read this one. That Hana Association license thing for a fixer definitely seems like I've read. So we're actually going to skip all the other fixer pages and go straight to Walter's and call it. You guys let me know if you don't remember the Axe Gang pages being read, though. Because I don't remember if we'll read the Axe Gang and Walter's pages. That's what we'll do. And I apologize if you hear, like, the wind in the window. It's just, that's how the day be. The associations handle requests often made for fixers such as security, combat, assassination, intel, patenting, and trades. When there is money, there are associations. The associations follow the demand, not the other way around. Demand equals requests, and requests equals profit. It may seem too materialistic to you, but seeing how the associations work, you'll have to agree that money is their prime objective. For instance, the associations sort and classify every single notable event in the city. Urban myths, urban legends, urban plagues, urban nightmares, and stars of the city. Risk is not what determines their grade. The only question that matters is how much people are willing to pay to have their threat eliminated. Okay. Again, nothing about that is anything new for information, I suppose. Always nice to have lore regardless, though. But nothing that we didn't know, really. Nothing that I can comment on about it, to be honest with you. So, Axe Gang members. Our syndicate's well acquainted with the guys at Hook office. We used to chop and rip and tear together before they moved on to fixer business. We were the best buddies. The two syndicates had a wonderful time with each other. We still do help them out sometimes nowadays, You thought fixers and syndicates were enemies for life? Well, you could say it's a long-standing love-hate relationship. I didn't see the hyphen there. Whoopsie. Usually a syndicate causes a scene and fixers come over to take care of it, but think about it for a sec. If syndicates didn't exist, more than half of all offices would be out of jobs, essentially unemployed. You get it? I think I did read this one because I feel like the "you get it" right there was a comment where I wound up saying where I made it a comparison to Axel from Kingdom Hearts 2, but we're already balls deep in here, might as well finish it off. It's a symbiotic relationship right there, so don't be so cold to us. And some of the fixers often cooperate with syndicates to handle cases. You know, it's not like dogs and cats constantly fight each other when they're together, yeah? That's sort of logic. That sort of logic, we syndicates do the things fixers can't dare, the punctuation's weird, fixers can't dare take care of. I heard some offices straight up ban killing people, even. Sometimes about life being precious and whatevs. It's bull crap. Anyway, that's how syndicates and fixers complement each other. There's some crooks you'd want dead for sure before they get complicated, or before they could complicate things, you see? Man, talking about them makes me miss my old friends. Don't get to meet those pals often these days. I might as well storm Hook office this time around, see some familiar faces. Okay. Yeah, I think I did read this shit, but whatever. If you think syndicates are nothing more than a gang of ugly and bad guys, then let me tell you that's an outdated bias. Of course, we're freer than fixers who have to follow commands and requests from associations. A lot of us kill people and do some wicked shit for the sake of cash, I'll give you that. But others aren't too different from your average fixers, I'm telling you. We get requests and solve problems. Though our group's moral compass is tilted a bit to the dark side, so I can't give you a good example of myself. Right, some syndicates actually do some heroic shit. Syndicates hunting syndicates. I ask them, hell man, how aren't you guys just becoming fixers instead? And they said they don't really feel like it, since they don't really want to get entangled in the formal stuff, and there's just too much to prepare to get a license and everything. Well, who's to say syndicates can't be good guys, right? We're living as we like in the back streets, which again, a lot of moral gray area. That is just the way that the fucking shit works in this game. Who said a fixer is a free man? Must have been some no-good show-off who told you that, kid. That's just our dream, and nothing more. Fixers are managed by offices. Most of our jobs come from the requests of the offices get, so we're virtually out of work without them. And offices are managed by the 12 associations. And on top of those 12 is the Hana Association. Our lives are subordinate to layer upon layer of hierarchy. This is an Axe grade, the Axe member, whatever. I'd love to hear where that supposed freedom is according to them, because I don't see it. There's one way to achieve that pipe dream. A fixer's freedom is only truly complete when they are given a color from the Hana Association. Don't go around proclaiming that you'll become one of the colors, though. You think it's that easy to break free from these massive fetters? That's the other thing, too. I imagine there's a lot of fucking politics and bullshit that you have to deal with, too. Fixer, grade 7. I think that's the same. Whatever, we're gonna continue. I think I've read pretty much everything from Urban Legends, so let me know, again, guys, if you don't remember any of these pages being read out to you. I just don't know right now. But we're gonna start here, and I'm pretty sure that we have everything unequipped this time around, so that's a fucking change. Sorry about that, that shit kind of came in clear as day. People just pulled in. There's a house, like, right behind my house, and yeah. You get where that's going. Let's go ahead and continue with the episode then, shall we? First, though, coffee. Alrighty. I am ready to take on the day. You hear that news? We're about to collide with kingfishers again. Kingfishers? Don't remember that name at all. Were they a real thing? You know, the syndicate that's been struggling with finance and feuds between members recently. They seem to be getting back on their feet after raiding the Constellars, but it looks like that didn't last long. They were irrelevant chumps, so I completely forgot about them. The Knots seem to be after them. Maybe they finally hit them. Weaklings will get hounded. And now they've been trying to invade our territory, desperate to loot anything. Doesn't matter. Their names wouldn't be so unmemorable if they were any strong. Taking them down shouldn't be a problem. And the fixers at Clam office that were cooperating with them from the back are gone too. Clam? What are they about? Yeah, there's so many fucking names that they just threw at me right there. I imagine kingfishers might wind up being something that we'll bump into later on, but I don't fucking know. I don't even know what to make of that, to be honest with you. Maybe it'll continue with Gin and the other dude's page, but I don't know. I'm actually going to continue with that, just to see if it does anything. So, let's see. Alrighty. A fallen nest no longer has an owner to protect its inhabitants. What happens to them, then? In the wreckage of the nest that's gradually turned into an environment similar to the backstreets, all they can do is accept horrible deaths, as backstreets residents do or hire a fixer, or pay protection fees to one of the powerful syndicates that enter the nest and be under their care. Some move to a different wing, but this is an exceptionally rare case. The syndicate may charge ridiculously expensive fees, but they'll keep you safe for sure once you pay them. If an even stronger syndicate comes in, drives off the others, and asks you to pay a protection fee, then there's no choice but to give your new protectors what they ask for. They'll protect you with their lives as long as you still have money to pay. The assets will become useless when you die anyhow, so you might be well to spend it to extend your life just a little bit longer. The former feathers don't have a choice in this matter. If they don't pay the fee, they'll die or get kicked out. It would be a miracle to walk out unharmed. So a little bit more expounding on the fallen nest thing that was, explored during this whole entire arc when we were doing the Kurakumo clan shit. So on to Yang's page, and then we will do Sayo's page. There are two kinds of folks who hang around on the back streets at night, the predator and the prey. Pretty much everything going on in the city can be described as savage, but the other parts of the city at least put up an effort to package them in gentlemanly disguises. Even a cheap hamburger made from whatever unspeakable ingredients is still wrapped in a modern and rich packing, yeah? On the other hand, the back streets at night are filled with raw and blatant barbarity. Not even a layer of crude cover is there to censor this brutality. No deed is forbidden. No one is held responsible. Imagining the most appalling... so it is fucking ing, Jesus. Imagining the most appalling, vulgar, and filthy deed you can think of. I won't dare say beyond your imagination, because I have no idea how insane you might be. But I guarantee that whatever you're thinking casually happens somewhere in the dark alleys of the backstreets at night. Despite all that, people still inhabit the backstreets. They doggedly struggle and survive in their own ways here. Okay. So, just a little bit more of the usual stuff that you always get. You know, the backstreets is a fucked up place, and things happen there that are terrible. And despite what your fucking thoughts are, it probably happens. So, yeah. Just a reminder that, shit's fucked. Sounds about right. On to Sayo's page now, because this is one I've been wanting to read for a while. The hand of the backstreets is possibly the biggest reason no one dares to take care of the lawless land that is the backstreets. No association or wings can touch it, and not even the head itself can easily interfere. The 5 syndicates at the apex of the backstreets are called the Thumb. Ooh, here we go. Here we go, baby! So where was... Yeah, okay. The 5 syndicates at the apex of the backstreets are called the Thumb, the Index, the Middle, the Ring, and the Pinky, namely. They parcel out districts of the backstreets and comprehensively manage their territories and periodically hold meetings to efficiently control the backstreets. They call this conference the Finger Bow Bell. Alright, I feel like that's been referenced, actually. Fuck. I feel like if somebody remembers, has that been referenced earlier in the Library of Ruina? The Finger Bow Bell feels like something that has been used by name in a cutscene before. I'm uncertain as to whether this name is meant to suggest they actually make Pinky swears not to invade each other's territories, or if they call it as such simply because the fingers gather in one place. The mind of higher-ups is a mystery, truly. Going back to the topic, when the Finger Bow Bell nears, all members of the 5 Fingers will try to avoid conflict and refrain from causing big problems. It's thanks to the leaders of each syndicate who caution their subordinates that fights between smaller syndicates could grow into a massive conflict between the big ones. Perhaps, if subsidiary syndicates ran into trouble, the seniors at the Finger Bow Bell would be faced with quite the embarrassment now, wouldn't they? Interesting. I was hoping for a little bit more like, in the backgrounds of, like, what goes on between the fingers, though. But we already know about this, the 5 fingers and stuff, you know. The 5 syndicates that control the backstreets, basically, are the apex of the backstreets. And syndicates are not to be mixed up with associations, because they're a lot more organized, a lot more political and all that other stuff. And I think that they're handled by the head. Not 100% sure. But, because there's corporation... No, association is different than corporation, because corporation is the nest. They're, I think, like a nest for every letter in the alphabet or some shit like that, which would be their corporations. And then there's the associations, the 12 of those that are based off of numbers, correct? I believe that's how that one works. And then there's just an innumerable number of fucking syndicates, doesn't really matter. And then there's the 5 syndicates right there that are the 5 fingers, so I believe I have my hierarchies all taken care of. And I know that you guys keep recommending me to go ahead and read the Distortion Detective and whatever the other one is to be able to get more concrete information on it, though, about the structure, but it's still nice to remind myself of it. I always take a break from this game, do other things, and come back to it, and then forget this thing, because it's not, like, fresh in my head. I'm just trying to remind myself here, but I believe that's how that one works. 26 nests slash corporations. Nests can fall, etc. We already know what happens with that one, thanks to the whole Sios page that we just gone over right there. 12 associations based off of numbers, and all the fucking syndicates and shit, right? Okay, Carnival's page. That is what's next. Coffee. Let us continue. Oh, wow, that is a tome and a half, baby. Holy fuck. Alright. Let's do this shit. There are many important things to consider as a fixer, and attire is one of them. A fixer's attire is the most effective way to signify the image of an office. It's important for an office to show that it has formality and class. Most offices have set a dress code for that reason. As such, as much as it's necessary to choose the right attire according to the code, the most important factor is the fabric that the clothing is made of. Quality fabric can offer better protection, lighten the wearer's weight for quicker movement, or allow the wearer to carry heavy weapons as large as their body. Oh, so it can augment your strength, too. Those who create and provide such fabric are called tailors. And as we were already talking about before with augmentations, tattoos can also be part of that, too. So you could, like, combine tattoos and attire and just become fucking godly so long as you have money for it. Interesting. We are tailors who consume people and make silk out of them. Whether it's melting people inside our belly and congealing them in a mold, or it's unraveling humans into the thread they're really made of. The fundamentals do not matter. This technology does not originally belong to us. We merely took hold of a technology that came off patent when a wing was broken. Oh, so this comes straight from a wing, and it said a wing was broken. I remember this being mentioned before, where wings can kind of be discarded from the head, because the head controls wings, right? And we're going back over to the hierarchy thing. I think the head controls wings. Each wing is a part of the head, or they basically do the head's bidding or some shit like that, if I recall. And they can just let go of them. I don't know what happens 100%, but I'm sure that can be that is explained somewhere. So that's interesting. And I would imagine that a wing would be stronger than a corporation or a nest. So, no, wait a minute, because Lobotomy Corporation was a wing, wasn't it? Didn't they become a wing? Ah, fuck. Somebody explain that to me. Are wings, like, actually people, or, like, different groupings of people? Because Lobotomy Corporation might not have actually been a nest. That might have been a wing within a nest. Oh, fuck. That's so confusing now. Somebody explain that one to me now, please. Because I know there's something in there that I'm not thinking of off of the top of my head, and I can get the information now, but I'm going to continue reading. The only thing that matters is that silk made from humans has strength that differentiates it from ordinary thread. Only those who crave it visit us. Cloth weaved from human silk possesses various powers depending on the human's strengths. Some humans may have a strong body, another may be fragile but wise, and yet another may flaunt incredible speed. Since the silk reflects the characteristics of the human it was made from, there are as many forms and powers of cloth as there are humans in this world. Therefore, there is more to being a tailor than simply weaving silk carefully. Picking the right people to meet the demands of the clients is the most important. Hastily making silk out of a human that looks courageous on the outside may end up yielding useless cloth that does nothing but bolster courage. So one must be careful when picking the right material. Not every piece of fabric is accessible, however. It takes more than cash to purchase high-class fabric. One must earn the favor of tailors, first and foremost. Many tailors will only give their best fabric once the trust between them and their client has been established after complex turns of events. Because of that, tailors who make high-quality fabric usually belong to an organization and create cloth exclusively for them. But we were different. Until the Index gave us a prescripts, we did our work without taking orders from anyone, unchained to any syndicate or other organization. We were free, as some may call it. L8373-number 928. Eat 15 sweepers and extract silk from them to make fabric. I guess that's the prescript? Interesting. Yeah, no, that is interesting. That is very interesting, and I can't wait until the Index gets reintroduced, and I know that we also have, like, that fucking color person before with Dead Stop Office, or Full Stop Office. So I'm sure we'll be revisiting those in the near future. I just want to fight the Index and get their clothes, to be honest with you. I really want their page to be able to get a transmog, but very interesting read right there. Which goes into more of, like, the abilities of people in the backstreets and stuff like that, which, again, goes down to money, but even then they were saying as well, it's more than money. You need to have connections and all this other shit to be able to know tailors. Now, I know the Carnival says that they are tailors, right? Which I imagine they would obviously have to be, but now it makes me wonder where the tailors come from or how you become a tailor, etc. Are they just machines or whatever the case is? Or were these people that turned into machines because they can augment themselves to be able to do that shit? But they also said that their, like, methods and stuff come from a wing. So I imagine people did this at one point. Whether or not they still do is up to interpretation, and then they just took that method and adopted it. Interesting, though. Very interesting read. Like, that's not just me being like, oh, how very interesting, and just kind of... No, it literally is an interesting read to me. That was probably one of the better reads in this whole entire Lorebook reading episode so far. However, we do have musicians of Bremen to read from. So, Moo Moo and Oink. And then we have the goddamn twins after that. This is going to be a little bit off how it usually goes because we have the purple pages next, but that's fine. This is actually going to be over faster than I thought it would be. Huh. Alrighty then. They say the backstreets are a nigh inhabitable hellscape, but the people here live on somehow. There's lots of people who live in fear every moment, but the others live a pretty normal life. Some think the backstreets are totally shady and poorly aged slums, but we do have all the amenities we need here. For one, the supermarkets Oink likes aren't as good as those in the Nest, but it's got everything people need. Clothing stores, groceries, dry cleaners, etc. I heard the details are different for each district, so there's that. I'm just telling you how the things are where I live. People here aren't too unkind to each other. Those Nest dwellers like to gossip about how we're cruel and dreary and all that, but the truth is, we're doing just fine. Oh, and there's tons of good restaurants here, too. It's the street of flavor, after all. Freshly baked meat pies, spaghetti made out of special pasta. Your tongue and stomach have a wonderful time if you ever go on a trip to our district. We used to hand over the leftovers from our performance here to local restaurants. That meat would go to waste if we left it on the spot, so we might as well give it to the people who can make good use of it. Ain't that right? When Woof, Doodle-Doo, and Hee-Haw were around, I got enough chow to share with several eateries, but our find was halved, since they were gone and Oink kept making silly mistakes with it and ruined those ingredients too often. So we quit that biz altogether. Which is a tad bit unfortunate. We sometimes got tasty meals for free when we gave them our meat. I imagine that's going to also kind of tie together with this being, because I think this district would also be the butchers and stuff, right? I think this is all the same district. Yeah, I think this is all the same district. Not 100% sure about that. And then districts tie in immediately with the 26 nests, I believe, because there's 26 districts. On to Oink's page. Alright. The 7... Oh, yeah, that's right. 7 is an actual 7, whereas Y is 2. Forgot about that. I was like, isn't Y 7? Never mind. The 7 Association is a fixer association specializing in investigation and intelligence, and it's knowledgeable in pretty much every affair that takes place in the city. Details about a syndicate gaining infamy in the backstreets of some place... I'm sorry, I'm kind of gassy right now from the fucking coffee. The association probably knows what district it is exactly, but I left before I checked the details of it. All the information revealed about the distortion phenomenon, which has been going around lately, when and where fixers' offices start up and close business, and the beat goes on. The association treats all kinds of information about the city. Oh, they don't have access to top-secret intels like the secrets of the singularities each nest holds, obviously speaking. When they solve cases, they usually cooperate with other associations like the Shi and the Lu, or Liu. If you ask how the 7 Association... It really honestly depends on what language that would be for Liu, where they're getting that from, because I know with China, like with Chinese, I think they literally do pronounce it like that. No. One is the botched up English pronunciation in like Dynasty Warriors shit, where they go Liu, and in another one it's just Lu. I'm not 100% sure which is which, though. You guys will have to correct me. I know that I have some people from China that could tell me the proper pronunciation of Liu, and how that should be pronounced in the native tongue, or whether or not this is even Chinese to begin with, but honestly, it's really just more of a, I just like the way that pronunciation and stuff like that actually is in the native languages, is all. I obviously don't speak any languages other than a bit of Spanish and some phrases in Japanese and German, but, like, that's about it. I don't really know other languages. I like getting the proper pronunciation, though. And you only know from asking. So, if anybody wants to fill me in on that one, just go ahead. By all means. It's a pastime of mine, okay? Let's continue. If you ask how the 7 Association can secure its confidentiality, despite holding lots of juicy info that could attract the many, it's likely because its staff aren't bad combatants by any means. They don't use fancy but crude workshop weapons. Yeah, they don't use fancy but crude workshop weapons that are basically large amalgamations of various technologies. Regular informants are armed with nothing more than a simple bladed tool. It sounds very underwhelming judging from the weapon alone, but they use the minimum technique with pinpoint precision to take down their foes. I want to see the 7 now. I really do. Also, I love the Musicians of Bremen. They're like one of my fucking favorites so far. I'm pretty sure they are part of the Musicians of Bremen, right? That was what that was. But, I do love them so far. I really do. Also, Tanya is a boss. Alright, Pameli and then Pamela. Let us continue after I get my coffee. Ooh, life insurance. Okay. Life insurance for fixers is often a sham. A lot of them take your money, never give it back, even if you terminate... Yeah, okay, there isn't an and. Even if you terminate your insurance, they won't. It's not easy for your damage to be insured, either. You have to be at death's door to qualify. Pretty much, the chances are as low as winning the lottery. And what if you what if you just up and died? What can the dead... Fucking Christ. What can the dead do with money? You'll be much better off making a savings account for an... Fucking Christ. Let's start this over. Jesus Christ, man. Life insurance for fixers is often a sham. A lot of them take your money, never to give it back. Even if you terminate your insurance, they won't. It's not easy for your damage to be insured, either. You have to be at death's door to qualify. Pretty much, the chances are as low as winning the lottery. And what if you just up and died? What can the dead do with money? You'll be much better off making a savings account for an augment procedure or qualify workshop gear. I was a very lucky case. Keep in mind that this isn't the norm at all. Insurance can sometimes be useful depending on its form and conditions, sure. But if you can take the pay into account, it still doesn't feel too great. And now Pamela. It's just Pamela. I don't know why I said it that way. Basically speaking, people who visit our office are looking for shrewd and precise situational assessment rather than combat prowess. The ability to make quick calculations for various possible scenarios and neutralize or kill the enemy with the least effort. We are hunters for the city. I love how they say that, though. We are hunters of the city, and they totally don't look like Bloodborne members in any way, shape, or form. We wedge pierce the requests we get with swiftness and precision. Of course, our office isn't perfect in every regard, so we're in partnership with a number of other offices. Fixer offices often request others for help when reinforcements or professional aid in specific areas is needed. In the case of our office, we were sister offices with Dawn Office, sharing more information than we did with most other partners. Oscar is good friends with Salvador, the man running that office, and they've known each other for quite some time. But there's more to this sisterhood than that. Wedge Office excels at analyzing the capabilities of foes, and Dawn Office specializes in combat, so it's only natural that we go well together. Naturally. So now we're moving over to the purple pages. I can't wait till we get to Salvador and Oscar's page, baby girl. I need to see what we are at right now for time in the episode, because I might... Yeah, 35 minutes isn't too bad. I might do a short showcase of the shit that I have for the pages, because, like, nah, we'll do it later after I grab a bunch of stuff and actually start forming teams and stuff, because I want to start doing that soon. I need some more combat pages for grinding when I get back to playing the game. Anyway, Leeway's page. Wait, did I read... I read none of these. I skipped straight by all of this shit. Ha! Alright, we're not going there yet. I didn't read Stefan and Tamaki's page, nor did I read Yuna's page, or Bono, Dalek, so we gotta go back. There's a lot more shit to read. I knew that this was way too easy to get to. Few fixers use guns for self-defense. Bullets cost an arm and a leg, and foes who are relatively powerful tend to dodge shots like it's nothing, and I can barely graze them. There's not a lot of ways to react to enemies closing in, either. You'd have to be quick on the draw and shoot them in the weak spots. If you aren't, the other options are running away or grabbing some prop to guard yourself. Like hell, that'll save you. It takes several augmentation procedures to be able to carry something as heavy as a firearm and run fast enough. If you're a sniper, you'll be busy packing up your weapon, mount and everything. Have to make unnecessarily big movements. And what if the precious gun gets damaged if you try blocking your foe's attacks with it? Oh, I was talking about the kinds of guns me and Tamaki use, not the firearms in general. You see what Leeway's carrying? I heard there are lighter rifles, and some that come with bayonets for close quarters combat, but mind you, those guns have their fair share of downsides, so don't be too quick to buy them. You might as well save the money and get a quality workshop weapon or an augmentation procedure instead. Hell, you could probably buy a fine weapon with the money it takes to buy bullets for target practice. You aren't planning on using guns in actual fights without even practicing, were you? I mean, go ahead, if you really want dislocated shoulders and severed fingers. Despite all this, there are still workshops that manufacture guns and people like us who use them. Guns are just that comfortable to use. Those heavy taxes won't be a problem as long as you use your gun for its intended purpose. How many defenseless thugs standing in the middle of the street can notice a bullet flying towards them? Of course, it'd be even better to get specifically made workshop devices that use special technology to muffle the sound of gunfire, but don't expect too much. There's currently no technology in our world that can completely cancel out noise, and it won't exist in the foreseeable future. You don't need that to make guns work, though. All it takes is an advantageous situation. Exactly! If you know exactly what you're doing, then sure, but there's obviously risk behind it. This is why I only really use Leeway's page. I would never use Stefan or Tamaki's page, but they are good for passives. Which is why I need more of them. There aren't many workshops that can craft guns. Setting aside the low demand, the difficulty for acquiring firearms manufactured, a firearms manufacturing license, and the head strict guidelines are the biggest limitations. Forgot that the head totally limits this shit. The guidelines include clauses such as the maximum length of the gun barrel must be shorter the higher the gun's caliber is. No gun possesses the firepower to penetrate steel or building walls. A gun fire sound must be audible, and I haven't even started with the bad ones yet. Oh, Jesus. The first page of the guideline boldly states, "Do not research or imagine technology that infringes the firearm manufacturing guidelines as provided by the head along with the license. I'm not a gunsmith myself, so I don't know the details. And I frankly don't want to know any more than that. There certainly are workshops permitted to take S-Class firearms, but I'm guessing only 3 to 5 of them exist in the entire city. Who do they take requests from? Where are they? Or where they are and what kind of people run them? They're all a mystery." The most I could hear was a rumor that an S-Class workshop exists somewhere. People say that the head put heavy restrictions on firearms because they don't want its denizens to be harmed too easily. It's true that a gun can effortlessly kill a person with one well-placed shot. That's not all. The assailant doesn't have to show themselves to attack, and a flying bullet is simply too fast for the average person to track with their eyes, making it a fine weapon for stealthily killing others. But making it harder to kill people doesn't seem good enough a reason to impose such restrictions. What about the countless other trifling and useless methods that exist to kill people? I just cannot understand that they would see this as a solely philosophical issue. Are you asking if it's because the wings don't use sufficient technical expertise? I'm not here for senseless chatter. The wings could easily make superior weapons with their technology. There's no real reason they couldn't improve upon the current designs. There are probably some people who feel the same as me. They don't question it further or try to dig deeper into the truth because, well, they have their hands full with making their ends meet. And they don't want to risk losing it all meddling in business secrets, I suppose. She does raise a good question, though, why they have such weird and arbitrary restrictions on firearms, but, like, everything else is just like, nah, it's fair game. That is a really good fucking explanation right there. Maybe it's just easier to limit guns rather than all the other technologies that you could do and augmentation procedures and various other shit that you could do. And they already technically have a law anyway with augmentation procedures where it's like, yeah, you just can't have a full fucking functioning AI that can behave like a human. But I don't know. It's a good question, though. It's a very good question. But, yeah, we basically went over all of that other shit. Can't wait until we get to Leeway's page, but, we aren't there yet. So, Yuna's page first. Oh, hello. That's a thing. Jesus Christ. Alrighty. Audio transcript of testimony from District 22, Resident 1. File name. Number sign, I guess, whatever. Pound S/0019-XXXX, whatever. That's a date, but they have a lot of it fucking censored, so I'm not gonna go through that shit. Omitted. I think it was last Monday. Derry said something strange to me. They only told me they made a contract with someone, and they're scared that they might break it. They said they don't know what horrifying penalty they'll have to face upon breaking the contract. I tried to calm them down, saying they should be fine as long as they don't actually breach the contract, but Derry got ticked off and complained that it's unfair how they are supposed to comply with unfavorable terms hidden in every fine print. Then they broke into tears, saying they're doomed anyway. They apparently agreed to do 3 tasks in exchange for gaining power. Audio transcript of testimony from District 22 Resident 2, afterwards, I suppose. And I think it's the last one. Do I have to recall that messed up memory? Alright. If it's necessary to prevent another incident from happening, I guess there's no choice. You can record it, sure. I don't remember everything that happened, actually. That day was just like any other day, except Derry showed up in the streets after going missing for a few days, looking awfully gaunt. Other than that, the weather was normal and the streets were the same as always. I know, that's when the incident started. Derry was walking the street as they mumbled something, but they didn't seem to be heading to a specific destination. It's like they were staring off into space and forcibly dragging their feet along. They said strange things like something keeps coming or boiling. They were always a bit of a weirdo, so that didn't bother me too much. But then, Derry's body began swelling up. All I could think at the moment was how funny they looked, expanding like a balloon. The scene was that unrealistic. Maybe it was the shock of confronting an unbelievable situation paralyzing the human brain, or the brain beginning to believe that it's only a dream and marveling at the scene, but I was just standing still and staring at what was going on. Am I really in reality? But before I could gather myself up, the incident happened. Derry's body blew up and weird needles went. Blah, blah, blah. Mrs. Madrid, who was standing in front of me, was struck with one of the needles, and her body swelled up and exploded into a shower of needles, just like Derry said. I luckily managed to get away without getting hit by any needles. I ran to this office without turning back once, and now, I don't think I can get back there. I wonder if anyone else lived. If my friend Mijin... Mijin? Why do I feel like I know that name? Who's that? Who is Mijin? Fucking A. If my house is fine. I'm curious, but I just can't go back. I can't do it. What do I do? I don't want to go back to the interviewee's breath became coarse and unstable afterwards. The recording was suspended as it was deemed that the interview could no longer proceed. Why do I know Mijin? Why do I know that name? I'm gonna go all the way down here. Just give me a second here. Did they not mention that literally in the Rats cutscene? Why do I know that name? Huh. I don't have a page, though. Which, I didn't really quite expect that, but... I know that name for some reason, and I don't know fucking why. That's gonna really piss me off. Somebody enlighten me if I should know Mijin's name. But on to Dalek, because we have a lot more shit that we still need to read. Oh my fucking lord. We're almost there, though. We are almost there. We just have Liwei, Alok, Meow, Salvador, and Oscar after this, I believe. After Bono, that is. The nest is a home where birds brood their eggs. They use their wings to devotedly protect their eggs from outside threats. Such is the role of the nests and the wings that constitute the city. Ugh. Do the eggs represent people inhabiting the nest, then? Not a chance. Oh, I'm so sorry. I just keep, reading, and then it's I feel gas coming up here. It's awful. It is terrible. Coffee does that shit to me when I haven't, eaten yet. Which I have not. Anyway, not a chance. These eggs are the treasures that wings possess. Singularities. Technologies that make money. Featured in countless patents, its residents are nothing more than feathers of the wings that serve to protect the eggs. Huh. So, I guess nests belong... Alright. Yeah, so nests belong to the corporations, which I guess corporations actually are wings. Are they? I don't know. Somebody clarify that one for me later. I need to know this shit. Its residents are nothing more than feathers of the wings that serve to protect the eggs. A wing will end up falling when it loses too many of its feathers, but it won't bother to desperately protect all of its feathers since a feather or two will naturally grow back. They're basically expendables. The 26 wings, yeah, they're 26 wings, so alright, that explains it. There we go. Have their current subsets of culture. It might be the personal preference of the wing's founder, or the influence of the singularity, but the cultural styles and social atmosphere vary vastly between the nests. The wing's policies also determine the culture of the backstreets that it belongs to. Each wing has distinct sets of conducts. Some wings take a relatively cooperative approach to their backstreets, while others thoroughly exploit them, but wings will be wings. Cooperation is just a fancy expression for taking advantage of the backstreets when the wings need them. If you can't afford to enter a wing and have to live in the backstreets, you're best off settling in the district that suits you well. You'll still need a home and a source of income, of course. So that is another good explanation of shit that I had right there. I still would love a TLDR of that again, because I always forget this shit, and then I always wind up asking somebody like Nui to explain this shit to me again. Because it just... I always forget it because it's been so damn long since the information comes up, and then it comes back up again, and then I just want to make sure that I am on the right page. No pun intended. People are hung up on money. But it's not just because they want to be well off. The formidable tax burden is a big part of why. No matter how humble your job is, you're still obliged to pay your duties if you earn money. It goes for every type of business transaction. Even syndicates are no exception. anyone living in the city has to pay taxes. If you don't meet the deadline, you'll get a warning. For the first 3 offenses, you'll get a notice of warning and no other penalty. But if you don't pay your taxes for the 4th time, then you're dead meat. They'll come for you. The Eye will seek out tax evaders by any means, and the person it sends will rip those poor cheats to shreds. Lovely. Sounds like a great day. I think we've already gone over taxes, though, with somebody's thing. I feel like it was in Hook Office, actually, where they were talking about taxes originally. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that was the first page that brought it up. Anyway, on to Leeway's page. It's getting pretty fucking late. I need to wrap things up. I need to get food, and I need to take a goddamn shower, so I'm trying to just rip through these. A color is the dream and lifetime goal of all fixers who wish for freedom. Those who have been assigned a color are called the colors. Well, of course, a color is the pride of the fixer and the association. They put forward the colors as great and successful people that other fixers will look up to. They dream of earning wealth and fame. You know, I just realized, too, they had to be colors, right? The 4 fixers that you fight on the white ordeals at the end of Lobotomy Corporation. Those had to be colored fixers, yeah? Had to be, because it was red fixer, white fixer, pale fixer, etc., you know, all that fun shit. But yeah, that had to be a colored fixer. I'm not 100% sure. But then that also begs the question, because you have the colors that are fucking powerful as hell, and then they send a claw at you afterwards. So it begs the question, how powerful is a goddamn claw, then, if they're fucking more powerful than a color, clearly? Damn. I mean, I would argue in that game, anyway, that the claw was weaker than all 4 fixers put together, but who knows? Colors are assigned by the Hana Association. They're bundled into such a category because the Hana deemed them to be the most ideal fixers. Because they're the most adequate individuals to deal with the stars of the city. Oh, hello. That is an interesting thing that I didn't think of. So we'll be seeing colors when we hit Star of the City, which is up here. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So there's a direct reasoning for it. Yeah, okay. So where the fuck am I here? Right here, okay. I just got fucking messed up right there. The title of a color is forcibly given to fixers who qualify, essentially. Can a fixer ever truly be happy with freedom that was forcefully handed to them? Why colors of all terms when there are so many other stylish words to choose from? I have no comment to make, since I don't know the reason myself. My assumption is that the colors are used because giving people hues representative of them makes it easier to refer to and remember them by. It may not be the answer you were expecting, but it can't be helped. The colors have their own ways of working, and they have basically nothing in common. It's akin to how visible colors have their own vibrant characteristics. In that sense, the term colors isn't entirely off-putting. Interessante. And then, of course, we have Gabora. That was a fucking color, so yeah. Yeah, I can't wait until we unlock Geb. I need her. I need her in my fucking library so badly. On to Alok's page, shall we? That was a nice, short and sweet one. I like that. Kane Office is a notary public office that officially administers various matters when a contract is made between 2 offices. A notary public, I really almost said pubic there. A notary public office preserves evidence involved in contractual processes and certifies legal issues. Sometimes the office may play the role of a broker. When you work with Kane Office, the process you have to follow will usually be simpler outside of a few special cases. All you need to do is make a summary of all the details for the deal you're making and visit the office. And don't forget to take all the relevant documents with you. Notarial deed of promissory note, migration permit for the nest, or the backstreets of District 00, deed of forward contract, and everything else related to the deal. If you safely finish your business with Kane Office, those documents will become powerful pieces of evidence that'll protect you in case of a dispute that breaks out for whatever reason. I don't know what the importance of this is that he's saying, but saying a contract between 2 offices, because I know Salvador and Oscar, they worked between each other, so maybe there's a contract between those 2 offices. I think there was a contract given to Molar office, which was Olga, from somebody else. So did Kane office give... I think Kane office gave Molar office something. I'm not 100% sure. If not, then Kane office gave Alloc something. I cannot fucking remember why Kane office is something that is thought of. Whatever. I'm asking way too much information that honestly isn't, like, absolutely necessary information, but I am still curious regardless. Anyway, we have 3 last pages left. We have, what, how long of a fucking recording here? 54 minutes, dear Christ. Let's get onward. This is why I have, like, several different parts of this, and I'm not expecting you guys to ever watch through this in one big burst, but I want to make sure that everything is read here, and then I'm going to go over every page once we're done, just to make sure that you guys know all the pages that I have, and if you think that I hadn't read a page yet. So, alright. Meow's page. Yeah, let's do that. First coffee, though. Alrighty. It is not a tome. Hee-haw, doodle-doo, woof, and me. The 4 of us were moved to the core by the pianist's performance. To recreate the performance half as splendid as what we heard that day, we formed the Musicians of Bremen to study the music. There we go. Alright, now I got an importance as to why they fucking... I wonder, is Woof just Tanya? I don't fucking know. Because I'm curious now who Tanya is, because I know that she had mentioned the Musicians of Bremen, and I think that she's from them. I need to figure out where the correlation is there 100% now. We tried flicking strings here and there, playing music while sitting, on our backs, and even while standing. We still couldn't come close to the pianist's level, but we managed to make our own brand of music, something that only the Musicians of Bremen can play. Our performance was actually pretty fantastic, you know? Sadly, our time didn't last long. One day, a mysterious person approached us and asked us to join his ensemble and perform with him. Woof, Doodle-Doo, and Hee-Haw took the offer and left with that guy. I had to stay because our new members that had just joined our band, though. Yep, Moo Moo and Oink. It's kinda uncomfortable to just leave them behind, you know? We can't let them mess around and taint our name, either. I've been practicing with them to create a performance that could get a standing ovation once my old bandmates came back. But their current level of skills, the 3 would just cluck at these newbies' performance and go back to whatever they were doing. Interesting to have more backup to, like, who Oink and Moo Moo is, though, so now we know the whole entire setup of that. I guess the Musicians of Bremen isn't as big a group as I thought originally, but that makes sense. And I don't even think that they're really a syndicate. They're just a group. Very interesting. I thought the Musicians of Bremen would have been a lot more people, to be honest with you. But I do like them. They are probably one of my favorite groups as of anything that has shown its face so far in the Library of Ruina. We read Sayo's page, so on to Salvador's page now. This is going to be an interesting one. Oh, Jesus Christ. Now that is a tome. What about Oscar? Oscar is like half a tome. Alrighty. Case name, 1000 Needles. Serial code, DN00113. Grade, Urban Legend. Oh, it's not even an Urban Plague. Alright, cool, because we're an Urban Plague. So it's a bitch level case, gotcha. Description. Oh, that's interesting, dude. It is literally like an SCP document, the way that is. I like that. This document is a compilation of relevant information on the case of the 1000 Needles, which occurred in the backstreets of District 22. While a clear conclusion on this case has yet to be made, it is speculated to be a case of the distortion based on the apparent inability to confirm the case or analyze the composition. By the way, I considered a long time ago, guys, if I did cosplay and could do it really well, I actually considered making, like, SCP files based off of the different fucking abnormalities and make videos of that in the past before, because that would have been dope. Just dress up as Chesed and just read, like, a case file based off of it. I actually considered doing that a while ago. Anyway, case report. Entity A-01. The first apparent source of the incident was wandering the backstreets of District 22 before swelling up and exploding. Numerous needles were dispersed upon the explosion, flying in all directions. The needles which stuck into buildings and walls caused the site of the impact to melt and crack. When a human was struck with one of the needles, they were transformed into A-02, going through the same bizarre process of detonation as A-01 did. Literally, it's an SCP document. The orange symbol on the nape of A-01's neck, gotcha, so it's all the same shit, was also found on the needles discharged from its body. When I arrived at the scene after taking the request, the bits of flesh scattered around the streets began to merge into one giant, ooh, that's gross, body, using the brainstem focus resonator, becoming a 3-meter tall, 10-foot mass that I will refer to as A-03. A-03 began throwing large needles, the length of which varied from 1 to 3 meters. Unlike the small needles fired from the explosion of A-01 or A-02 that could only leave small dents on building structures, the giant needles flung by A-03 caused buildings to helplessly melt. In addition to local residents who stared into the entity's eyes or holes in its body soon produced a boiling sound before turning into A-02. So I had to forbid people from observing it closely. A-01 visited 00 office, I guess, fucking A, to give a request 4 days prior to the incident. Refer to audio transcript of testimony from a fixer of 00 office. Judging by what they said, such as made a deal with the devil and terrible things will happen if I break the contract, it is speculated that yesterday's promise is behind that incident. Audio transcript of testimony from a fixer of 00 office. File name Esh-0021 from XX year 23. I'm fine. Can I just talk like this? Oh, okay. Got it. When was it? A person visited our office last Wednesday, if my memory serves me right. They introduced themselves as an ordinary resident of the backstreets of District 22, and they urgently needed help. That's not how you word that statement. I'm glad I read that first. They had huge bags under their eyes, and their hair was a tangled mess. Their eyes were lifeless and blurry, and there was some sort of symbol on their neck, as if they'd been attacked by a Stigma Workshop product. The desperation was palpable. They couldn't even walk straight, and they were straining to approach me with their awkward steps. I managed to calm them down, and they said, "I'm sorry. I'm not sure how I should explain it." In short, they made a contract with a devilish person of some kind, and that they're scared they might break the contract. So they were now asking us to take care of the devil so it can't kill them as punishment. I still don't get what that was about, even though I'm talking about it. To be frank, I just couldn't understand what they were saying. Not just because their level of knowledge and manner of speech was lamentably inferior, no. All they uttered was a series of simple words. But the splendid images delivered in these hysteric words they let out, they were like they were possessed or something. I can't dare try to describe them. They kept saying confusing things like, "We'll skewer people's heads and make a necklace out of them to offer to it." They keep getting closer. They're multiplying in numbers. They're approaching from inside me, all with a mysteriously bright glint in their eyes. Oh, our office records counseling with our clients by principle. You'll see how confusing the whole situation was if you give this file a listen. Don't worry, we record with the client's consent and everything, so there's nothing illegal about this. Refer to Evidence 5-100 Office Counseling audio recording. But what can I do, really? The whole deal with the devil thing just sounds too unrealistic. I honestly thought they were lying, so I made up an excuse to turn them away. I can't wait until we figure out that shit, man. The promise of tomorrow is something we'll definitely be seeing in a little while, though. That's for fucking sure. And don't forget about the index. I expect to see the index later on. If I don't, I will be fucking disappointed. And now finally on to Oscar, totally not Bloodborne's page. The 8 o'clock circus was a real sod of a case. Its leader wasn't a particularly powerful enemy, but it took a long time to assess the strengths and behavior of this crew. There was no specific pattern to it, and it was so difficult to predict what would come next. It was akin to watching an erratic circus of lunacy. Their lair was mysterious and terrifyingly bleak, and the crew took hideous forms as well, looking too grotesque to possibly be considered normal living beings. They were as strong as they looked, When the blob shaped like a lion bit, Pomeli, with its blunt teeth, her body quite literally blew up on the spot. Ooh. Jesus. That's fun. However, our enemies were slowly brought down from the vantage point, and when they were completely cornered, the leader escaped along with a few of his crew. Even though we couldn't put an end to the case, we decided to prioritize recovering Pomeli's body, as we deemed the circus would be weakened enough to stay low for a while. As we stored Pomeli's head in stasis preservation case and headed to the exit of the collapsing circus tent, we ran into a group of fixers. They seemed rather exhausted after fighting a swarm of the crew outside. I suppose that's why they couldn't enter the tent until that moment. It's not uncommon for 2 or more offices of fixers to be present at the scene of a finished case, so I gently nodded to greet them, identifying ourselves as fixers of Wedge Office, who have come here to solve the case. The shortest person among them, the aged-looking woman who appeared to be the representative of that group, looked around the circus tent, let out a deep sigh, and introduced herself as Moses, of Moses' office, while smoking from her pipe. Moses then started thinking, presumably ruminating over what words to choose. She must have taken a request that's rather tricky to disclose. The 2 people behind her, nervously exchanging glances with each other, appeared to be her bodyguards of some sort. Having such trivial thoughts, I waited for this Moses person to resume speaking. After a brief period of silence, Moses breathed out smoke in the other direction and asked me where the leader of the circus went. Since I didn't know much better than them, I told them what I could in brief. They seemed troubled by my unhelpful answer, but they soon accepted it and left the scene. That group reportedly appears every time a case of the distortion is solved. They're allegedly working as the distortion detective. So that's probably where that book came from, or where that reading is, by the way. It's probably about them, but we'll figure it out. Somebody tell me if that's true. But recently, witnesses of their appearance were always followed with a distortion case in the same location. While it's unclear whether they're involved in this case, I believe there's enough reason to be wary of them. That was an interesting read right there that I really liked. Oh, I really liked that one. That was a good way to just end right at the end. They are called the Distortion Detective. I like that a lot. So these are all of the pages that I have, ladies and gentlemen. If you feel like you haven't had one of these pages read, let me know, as I am just scrolling through these and going through all of this shit. But yeah, like I said, if you feel like any one of these pages is something that I have not indeed read, be sure to let me know. Though I do believe that I have officially gone over everything by this point in time. Or at least, dear God, I fucking hope so, because this series has actual hours dedicated into it by this point. I have no idea what to throw onto here for dialogue to just go ahead and let it last until I get to the end of all of my pages here, but I figured that I would just continue from there, and what do you know, improv is kind of difficult sometimes, but that is everything right there. I have a bit more grinding, like I said, to do with all of these other offices in Urban Plague, specifically with Full Stop and with Gay's office, as well as the Kurakumo clan. And then I'm going to wind up making builds for all of these different pages, especially the Kurakumo clan. I need to do a lot more, a bit more grinding there to get more pages to work with for all of the other people. Because I do plan on building a lot more than just one floor like I was doing before, because that was a fucking mistake to do. I don't recommend that any of you guys ever do that shit. That is a terrible idea. I don't remember if she actually had Sayo's page or not. Fuck. I don't remember. I literally don't remember. I know that you had Walter's page, though. I don't remember what one. What the butts? Oh, already in another key page, already in another key page. Where is your Walter's page? God damn it. There it is. It's like, I know this shit is here. And I don't fucking remember what the page was that you used, man. I don't. I do not. I'll figure it out later. So, I will see you guys later. Take it easy. It's been fun. I think it was this one that I gave Chelsea. Yeah. Alright. Peace and chicken grease.